of a late evening sunset of a little Indian village in part of a village. We talked about quite a bit in the last 3 or 4 weeks, but let me show you the original painting over here. This is the painting I'm still working on back in my studio, but we just sort of focused in on just a smaller section just to give a little bit more ability to see the details and how it works. And I think this is just exciting to do this kind of thing. Now what we're going to do in that painting, we're going to finish the water, see how the little ice flows. We'll put some of the grasses in, these warm grasses, the weeds and twiggy branches. Those of you that have a little mindset to put some fallen logs and things there, you could do that. But this has just been such a joy to work with. So where we were left off last week was putting in the details. We kind of highlighted the TPs, we put in these little racks to put the skins on, and we started working on the snow a little. I'm showing you now we're going to start putting in the grasses. That's the first thing we're going to do though is put the final highlight of the sun glow in the water. Then we'll put our grasses in and start drifting our snow. And those are just final detail. Really the painting can be finished at almost any time here and well within this show. So let's do this first. Take your number 4 bristle brush, and remember you've got a little bit of glow here now. This is going to pick up in the water right here, and you want to be able to just kind of skim across the surface like this. And don't make it too solid. You just kind of take a little yellow, a little bit of orange, maybe a little white, and you just kind of skim like this, just to pick up a little bit of reflection of the sun. And I love this warm against cool. It makes the water look really cool, helps make it look wetter, but it just adds atmosphere. I mean, I just love that atmosphere that it creates. So yeah, come on down right through here. We'll put some more ice flows on. Get all the grasses in. And really, this is where, like I mentioned in the first program, where artistic license takes over. Once I've showed you all the technical things that are required to make a painting work, then you then jump into your own art, your own skin artistically, and take your license and do what you want to with it. You want to add some things, change things around. You might want to put some people walking around, or maybe even a horse or two. You can do all kinds of things. But you've got to get a little bit of this warm tint in here to this water, especially right in this area right through here. That's really more important than you realize. It might make it just a little bit brighter even yet. This is just the orange, the yellow, and a little bit of white. I'm going to get just a little stronger right in this area right here. Yeah, there we go. And see, I'm kind of leaving the edges kind of irregular and kind of wiggly, make it look a little more reflective. Okay, now once that's done, we'll locate where our grasses are going to go. We're going to start applying those. Then we'll put the final little snow on there, little detail. Voila, you got a beautiful painting. I'll tell you what, this is a wonder. Everyone loves this kind of stuff. They'll be drawn to it wherever you hang it. All right, now you're going to go to your number 6 chisel edge brush. Come down here to your palette. I've already got the location here where the color is going. And use a cad red light, a little darkening purple, and sometimes you put orange in it. Just use anything. You put a little umber in it. Just get a real rich, warm, deep purplish burgundy color. And you see I've already started here, kind of just flip it up. So when you do this, just flip it like this. And what that does, that creates that nice soft edge. It gives you the look of the grass there, see? Isn't that cool looking? So now, then if you've got some that are close to the water's edge, you reflect it back into the water. Now I want to change the color just slightly. I want to put a little more orange in it. Personally, I had it just a little too purple. Again, that's a little personal. I mean, I don't think it would have mattered, but it did to me, so that does matter. All right, now flip it up like this. Now flip it down into the water. So if you'll reach it, you'll get a little in there, but you won't get much. And then any place else where you're going to say over here, you're going to have grass. Well, there's no water to flip up there, but if you have some out here in the water, close to the water, you would flip it in the water. See, that's what makes the water look even wetter when you do that kind of thing. So that's where we're headed now. It's getting all of our grasses in. I'm going to put a nice little clump right here. And by the way, make all your clumps a little different. Make them all the same size and same height, and you know. Now this corner especially, I want to get a little deeper, so I think I'll put a little umber in with this. Maybe a touch of blue even. Blue will deepen it quite a bit. I need a little bit of an eye stopper over here. Then out of that, you'll pull some little twigs and branches and all kinds of little things. In fact, this whole area right here will probably be kind of reflections of this color. And that just keeps adding more flavor to the water. It's fascinating. And I'm going to make this just a little more solid right into here. And gradually bring it out this direction. Flip right there. I like to put some out in the water just because it kind of looks neat. Because they're going to be there. And we'll kind of move right up the ladder here. I think we need to get some over here to kind of help seat these trees a little bit, especially on this left side. Maybe a few right in through here. The important thing is just to get enough in there that it looks finished. But don't go overboard with it, folks. That's another mistake so many of us make. We have a tendency to think, oh, a little bit more is better, but really in reality, in the art world, less is more. So keep that little thought in mind. Less is more. Now, sometimes I have to go back and work an area because I don't like the shape of it. I'm not necessarily adding more. I'm just readjusting that shape like this. I want to stretch this out and let it shift this foreground. It's like two of those clumps side by side being the same. And we've talked about that a lot too, watching out for repetitive stuff. Okay, now down in this right hand corner, we'll probably have a little group. This will be darker, so you take your ultramarine blue, a little burnt umber, and put in there with it. Get it pretty dark. And just pull it up. Just come on off the canvas down here. Now these chisel edge brushes are made out of nylon or some kind of synthetic material. And it takes a little more moisture to make them work. So don't be afraid to get in there and get a little more moisture in there. But see, I'm making it pretty tall. Yeah, so it looks good. All right, now once that's kind of in there, then we've got some detailing to do. We're going to let those set for a second. And so now you can take your script brush here. Just quickly, I might show you some things. For instance, the little skins that we got here have to have the little ties on them to stretch them out to the edges of the posts they're stuck on there. So I just take a little white and just make sort of a dull tan color with a little umber and white. And you need to have these little lines here. There'll be actually here there'll be some stakes in the ground that they use there, but these are just tied around the posts there. And then on the edge of the skin, if you take a little bit of white and a little bit of orange and make a little sunlight, you can see the edge of the skin. For instance, you'll see a little dip right there. So there's that little dimensional part of the skin. All right, so that's where the sun's hitting that part of it. That makes sense to you guys? You can see the edge of the thickness of the leather. See up here, you would see this part. That part there, there's a little piece there. Little piece there. Little piece there. So see, that helps you see the thickness of the leather there, and these little straps kind of died, so you can kind of hit them again, make them show up a little bit more if you want to. You might get a little highlight on that one there. And if you want this skin, you guys, to show up a little better, I mean, that's up to you. I'm going to put a little highlight now on these posts. That's something you obviously be doing as well. not just the snow on there, but just the highlights are important. I might mention too before I forget, let's go in here and take your number 4 bristle brush. We got to put the cast shadows from the trees and things. See the little shadows from this? I started them a little bit. I meant to start off with that. Let's get some back to that sort of gray color. That's the white and the purple and the blue. And you create that sort of grayish shadow color. And so there's a little cast shadow. See from these posts, it'll be from this tree right here. Kind of come across there. These trees you'll see coming out like that. They'll have all these little shadows like that. They're not all that many, but they're a little cast like that. See from those trees in there. And if you want to drift a little snow up underneath anything that's in shadow, including these, just the time to do it. If it's on the back side, that is. And you can do a little bit of that on these. That seats them down a little, and in a minute we don't have that many in this one. Most of them already they'll be drifting the white part up in there. So I think you're in pretty good shape on that. But you want some cast shadows there and a little bit down in here, and I think that's pretty much it. Now let's go down here to our water. Go back to the little number 2 chisel edge brush. And let's take our white and a little touch of orange. Now this is going to be the highlighting these little ice flows on the water. Okay, once you guys watch what I do, now take your brush and highlight like this. Put these little highlights on, get some little touches, and then pull your finger down. Remember we did some of this last week? And now you can go ahead and just do a lot more of that. Just brighten these up a little bit, and it looks a lot more like frozen water in the, and those are their reflections in there. Another thing you'll do as you do this, flatten this out, and you put the little ripples like this, the little skinny lines out in the water, and take your finger and blur just a little bit, and that'll give you just a little bit more clarity to the water, as though it's got some little ridges or ripples or frozen things on it. Anywhere you can put some nice little accent lines to kind of form the edge of the water, this is the time to do it, because that's what makes the water appear flat. But the real key is the brightness. So, for instance, if I want this to really pop, put the paint on. See how thick I put that on there? And then take your finger and bring it down. Then you come back and you put a little line between there, so that separates it from the water. So this is just fun little things to do to make your water have a really great, cold, crisp, wet look and that frozen look. So all those little caps that you put in there just give it a wonderful effect. This is probably one of the more easy, successful things to do, because it's really, it's almost instant success there to make it look like frozen stuff. You just kind of put it on thick. You have to put it on kind of thick. See a little mound up against the weeds here. Good spot right there. Mound it up. Put one or two right out in the middle here if you want to. But I heard it. Because the water's frozen. Who knows? There's probably a rock out there. It's just a little stream. It's not a big major river. And there's probably a lot of rocks, sticks, logs even. But as long as you're keeping things fairly parallel, see, it makes the water look flat that way. I want to really have some fun with this little spot right in here. See, sometimes you kind of skim some little highlights on it like this. This helps to make it look flat and wet and cold. This is just called dry brush skimming. It's something that you do a lot in water. Another thing, see, it just kind of gives it a little bit of a flatness to it. You can put as much of that in there as you're comfortable with. Not everybody likes a lot of that, but I like some of it in there because it adds a little bit of, it makes the water look a little more flat, which is a problem. Some folks have a hard time getting their water to look flat because they don't put enough horizontal movement in there, and it looks like it's tilted one way or the other. So, and remember, anytime you put strokes in water, always keep them flat or parallel in some way. Now I'm going to put just a little more brighter snow. I'm switch to my number 4 bristle brush. I take the white with a little orange in it. I want to brighten this little spot up right in here a little bit. Just a little bit. And back up in here a little bit. Just a little bit up into the bushes. Now this is where you have to make some conscious decisions about how much detail you want in your painting, how much movement, how much shadow, how much highlight, how much whatever. You have to be the judge of that, not me. So what I'm going to do is just show you some of the little things you can do. This is really fascinating. So I'm going to drift a little bit right up into there. I didn't want that to end so abruptly right there, so I'm kind of breaking this up, roughing it up in here just a little bit. So this doesn't need to be quite that solid of a dark color. And just kind of scumble a little bit of snow, the lighter snow up in through here. Just kind of glaze over the top of it so it's just a little bit lighter here and there. And then along these little areas where we had originally put the little footprints, if you take your brush and put just some little touches of snow around the edge, it'll make it look like you know how the snow pooches out when you step in it, creates a little ridge around there. Well, just put some little ridges around it, see it looks kind of like the snow is kind of pooched out as you step in it. And it just kind of gives a little more character to the snow too. So just kind of have a little fun with stuff like that. Just don't get high center on anything looking photographic or anything like that. This is what you call representational art. It's art that's just very suggestive. You create the suggestion of something, and you fool the viewer's eye and making them think something's there when it's not. Now what I'm doing is, for those areas where you don't want to put too much thing else, you can drag down like this little vertical strokes, and then you can put some horizontal strokes. This is called skimming, and this gives you that little bit of softness over the edge of the water, and this creates a little bit more reflective look. Gets the water gets wetter and wetter every time you do stuff like this. And then we'll put the final weeds and twigs and little odds and ends in here. This little spot right here bugs me. Well, I want to get this a little bit more finished looking. And you guys, you've heard me talk many times about when we do the show, there's no way in the world we can make these paintings 100% complete just because of the time restraints. But you can do that. You can do this at home in your own studio. And a lot of times when I take these back, if I have time and I'm going to use them for something, I'll go back and finish these up a little more too. But at least you get the emphasis on what it is most important, and then enjoy the process of finishing it to fit your personality and whatever else you want to do. So if I want to put another flow right there, I'll just do that. Take my finger. So you just have all kinds of fun things in here. You can do it a little bit bigger. And then maybe connect it. Just make a line across here. I think I will do this. I like this area down here, and I want to kind of connect it to the shore just a little bit more. Movement, blurry, and so as long as you're skimming and make things kind of subtle and transparent, you can't really hurt it too bad. Okay, for now, I think we'll leave this before I do the 3 Ps. I haven't spoken about that in a while, but remember the 3 Ps, don't fiddle, play, or putter, and so often we do that. All right, now the next thing you want to think about is how much detail do you want to put with your script brush. I'm going to go ahead and get some of this going here. Let's go to the finished painting, and you'll see what I'm talking about. See these little clumps of grasses you see here? You can put I just did the same thing. I put the underpainting, I put some the darker ones and then some lighter ones. There's the little ice flows and things. You see what we just did. You can put as much of that in there as you want. And the type of trees. Maybe you want to put a pine tree back in there or something. You can do that. But right now I'm just going to go back to my dark color over here. I'm going to beef it up a little bit with a little more red. Then it way down. Get my motor going. And I'm going to get these weeds. These are critical for this painting. They break up the masses of snow. They finish out you might say that the corners of the painting hold your eye in, eye stopper wise. Well, I just like the way it looks too. I just love weeds and dead tree limbs. All of you know that. They really look good in a painting if you get them done in there correctly. So just get your motor going. Go in a circular motion. I have a lot of people, students, that are just scared to death of this kind of thing. But really, folks, see how cool they look in there? They just, and that contrast against that little pile of snow, I just think that's fascinating. And who knows? Only an artist, I guess, can get excited about a weed, but, at least it's artistic. And that's the key, just make it artistic. And if you want to, just go ahead quickly, get some more in there. Then we'll put some brighter ones in to add that little bit of warmth, to repeat the warmer tints. That is pretty important. See, by pulling these up here, you actually tie the painting together better because these lines lead you into the next part of the painting. So these weeds are critical, especially this right-hand corner. This whole area down here really needs these to pull you up and bring you back in this way. And by the way, don't be afraid to put some singles in here, some single weeds. Like if you want to just come in and put one or two singles, maybe one of those bent over. See, that'd be good too. Just put a few single ones in. See, I've got my motor going that's in a circular motion. And when you do that, then when you hit the canvas, you're already in motion. Don't try to make these cold turkey, because that's when you'll get in trouble. Don't sit there individually and you shake every time. Everyone does. I do. Everyone has a natural shake. And so just kind of get these in here. Now, this is a good spot also to kind of pull your eye back into the painting. And then you just put some warm ones and you're pretty much done. You can put the snow on a little brighter here and there if you want. You can add some fallen limbs if you want. Like I said, don't be afraid to detail it to fit you, but for instructional purposes, I think I've done about all I can do for this painting for you. It's been so much fun. I love this kind of thing. I've got some great things coming up, folks, that I really want to show you. So hope you can keep joining us in the paintings ahead. Now, if you have a weed or two in the water, so you can get it reflected in the water just by wiggling your brush like that. See, that makes that little reflection in there. So anything that you put above the water that's close enough to get a reflection, be absolutely sure, you guys, that you get that in there. Otherwise, it just won't be correct. Plus, it looks good too. So now I've got, a lot of my dark weeds in here. You can put more. You can put some little twiggy branches. Now what I'll do is put the little twiggy branches at the base, the little saplings you almost always see at the edge of a forest. And I've got a little forest right next to my studio, my house. I'm spending a lot of time looking at that, and there's all kinds of stuff growing in there. A lot of times we make our paintings too pristine and clean, and it's almost like someone's come through with a weed eater and cleaned it up or whacked everything down. But there's a lot of debris, twiggy branches, limbs, leaves. To come out of this, I'm not just putting the weeds, but I'm putting some little branches that kind of help overlap this part and lets it sit back in there. Then you go down here to your orange and your red, put a little white in it, and you can get a few warmer colors if you want to. And I'm not saying you absolutely have to, but because of the warmth, the glow we have in here, having a few of these nice, just little redder tints in here, I think adds a nice touch to the painting. And I like the effect. See that little bit of warm glow there? So just go back to the oranges, reds, yellows, golds, any of those colors will be fine. And get some nice warm tints in here. This looks so good. Yeah, and then again, if you have to, you can just put a little reflection in the water of that, and that gives it a little wetter look as well. We're almost done, folks. Let's put a couple down here. You got some nice dark. See, look for the contrast areas in your paintings. That's what this is. So be sure you're doing that. I just want to get some light against dark and some dark against light. That's the whole key. And I think we're just about ready to call it quits here. Probably a little back over here. I don't think I put any up in that area. Well, I didn't get enough up in here either. I'm going to get some more up in here. And get a little bit of reflection in the water there on that. Then it's up to you if you want to put, like a little bird or two flying up in there. Might as well go ahead and do that. Then we're pretty well done. We talked about how to do that. Just take your brush and start on the left-hand side. Make one wing going this way. Make a hesitation for the body. And then that way, a little beak, a little tail. And you got a bird flying right there. It looks really good in there. So it adds a little bit of final life to the painting. And then the last thing, folks, that you want to do, you'll use what we call the spot highlights. Just take your white and yellow. For example, on the edges of your lodge poles, you'll probably want to put some little highlights on the edges of some of these to make them look a little more dimensional. On the edge of the flaps, so just give them a little more dimension. And also, there's the long support poles. I almost forgot this. I'm glad I did. Right? That come into the flaps. They come out like this. They go into the flap, and then they use those down here on the ground to support those. So you'll see those sticking out. If you ever look at photographs of these teepees, you'll see the poles go like that, go right through the tip of that. Out on the other side, and they have some stakes down here, so I need to get those two in there. They really don't show up that much because there are all these other things in there, but they come right down to the ground, and there's a little stake right there. But folks, as usual, we're about to run out of time. You can have a lot of fun just playing with this, putting as much detail as you want, bringing up the snow a little brighter if you want. Enjoy the process of finishing it. We're going to start a brand